bands like Alter Bridge and Fuel into like alternative or modern rock, even though neither of them are necessarily new bands by any stretch, just because of when they came out. But to my ears, when those bands came out, they were full-on heavy rock bands, not metal bands, but heavy rock bands, super heavy riffs, great vocals, all the stuff I love. Show you're about to hear on this day
reinvigorates my faith in radio.
And now, a masterclass on all things rock.
Just a vast spectrum of rock and rollers.
This is Trunk Nation, a fountain of information about the music and artists we all love.
Oh, Jesus, turn that up.
And now, the loudest voice in rock and roll. Who is this dude? A-Trunk.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Here we are, rapidly moving through July on this 9th day of July, 2026. Hope you're doing well. And hope you're ready to talk some rock with me. Yes, pretty much the only radio show on the planet that talks rock music each and every day. But today we are going to play some rock music for you. Of course, this being a talk show, we rarely play full songs in their entirety, but on occasion we do when it's something special. And at least as far as I'm concerned, this is special because I'm a huge fan of this band, always was pretty much from day one. And that band is Fuel, a band that had several big hits in their career. One of the biggest being Hemorrhage, which was done by Chris Daughtry on, I think, American Idol or The Voice or something, kind of catapulted his career back in the day. And ironically, the singer that is now singing in Fuel also, I believe, did that song Hemorrhage on I think The Voice. I don't know, I don't watch all those singing shows, but Aaron Scott is his name, and that catapulted him into being the singer in Fuel. But they've had so many great songs, I believe, in their career. Falls on Me, Shimmer, and they're a deceptively heavy band at times. They've got really heavy riffs. They remind me a little bit of Alter Bridge in that way, where people put these bands like Alter Bridge and Fuel into like alternative or modern rock, even though neither of them are necessarily new bands by any stretch, just because of when they came out. But to my ears, when those bands came out, they were full-on heavy rock bands, not metal bands, but heavy rock bands, super heavy riffs, great vocals, all the stuff I love. And just because they didn't come out in the 80s, they often, even when you look at the categories on the streaming services, they're put in these, alternative categories or something. It's just so ridiculous, but it's the way it is. Everybody's got to be put in a category, what have you. Anyway, I started to go see Fuel from day one, loved the band, supported them from day one. They've been through a number of lineup changes. Most famously, their lead singer who sang on all of the classic material, Brett Scallion's phenomenal voice. But him and the band's guitarist and songwriter, Carl Bell, just in the last, 20 years or whatever, just cannot coexist. So there was a little while where Fuel was going with Brett being the sole original member, the singer of the band, because Carl didn't want to do it anymore. But Carl actually controls the name of the band and is actually the, I believe, founding member, and also wrote all the songs. And then he reached a point where he wanted to take the name back. He did a few years ago, put up a new version of the band, found this singer, Aaron Scott. They've been gigging consistently pretty much for the last couple years. And now They're about to release their first new music in a long time. New album coming later in the year. And today, to close Trunk Nation, I will play you the band's brand new song called Want It. Not Wanted, Want It. W-A-N-T, second word, E-T. I'm sorry, I-T. Want It. That's the name of the song. And it's real good. And it's got all those elements of Fuel that I love. Big chunky riffs, even some guitar solos, a great vocal. It's about a 3.5-minute song, and you'll hear it for the first time anywhere to close the show today. And before we play it, Carl Bell will join us for a few minutes to tell us about it and tell us about the coming album. It's kind of a little cool, different way to end the show today. Little conversation with Carl from Fuel and the world premiere of their first new song in a long time. I don't know when the last time a Fuel song came out exactly, but I know it's been a while. And this is also the first recorded music with their new singer, Aaron Scott, who, if you've seen the band in the last few years, you've seen him singing with them. And they actually have been doing this song live for probably the last year, something like that. So excited to bring that to you. The song is released officially tomorrow. We've got it for you first here on Trunk Nation today with Carl joining us to tell us about it. Outside of that, a lot of time for your calls today. We are in free-for-all mode on this Thursday. So you know the deal. Phone number is 844-686-5863. 844-686-5863. Get involved in the show. Call in about anything you want. And again, if you're listening in the live window, which is 3 to 5 Eastern every day, and you're listening using the SiriusXM app, you can just hit that little phone icon. That will dial you right into the show as well. You can also connect with us on social media at Eddie Trunk, X, Instagram, page on Facebook, show account Trunk Nation SXM. You'll find that on X, Instagram, and on TikTok. Joel started a TikTok for the show a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago, putting up some video clips. And actually, I've heard from a few people who sent me some of those clips and are seeing them there. It's not a platform I personally have engaged in, but I know it's very, very big. So if that is your thing, you can see some stuff there as well. And also, you can see some stuff on YouTube at Eddie Trunk, because I did put some new video interviews up there just the other day. The recent Michael Anthony interview is up there. The recent Sully Erna interview is up there. The Brian Setzer interview is up there. The Stuart Copeland interview, I think, is up there. I got a few more to do, but there's some fresh stuff, so check it out at Eddie Trunk on YouTube. There is a video of not all, but some of the interviews that we've done on the show in the last few months. As usual, we open the show, though, with some news and some analyzation and discussion, maybe some food for thought if you are going to call in today, some things you may want to comment on. We spent a lot of time the other day talking about the return of Bon Jovi to the live stage. John making his return to Madison Square Garden after very, very, very well-documented vocal issues, and as usual in the world of social media, and everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. Very differing views on how John sounded and Bon Jovi's performance. Of course, much of it generated by people seeing the various posts on social media. If you actually went to the show, then of course you probably have a little bit more of an accurate assessment on how John is doing vocally and whether he should still be out there doing it. From what I saw, I don't think he's embarrassing himself in any way. I think it's light years better than what he had done on the last tour when he had to shut it down. Is it 1986? No. Like I said the other day, you'd be crazy and foolish. Why would you think it would be anywhere close to that? But I'll say this. It absolutely appears to be real. And that, to me, is more important than anything. So props to him, because you know what? He could easily have done what I know for a fact several major rock artists and artists outside of rock are doing and have been doing. And that is faking it. And he could have easily got a backing track, lip sync, this new AI technology. So props to him for not doing that. He has the resources to do it. He is not, clearly. And the other thing he's doing, I think, is quite smart, is that he's letting the band, who all have really good singers, do a lot of heavy lifting. You know, all those big high choruses, he backs off the mic and lets them do that. He's got like 6 singers in the band. And he also lets the audience sing, you know, which, you know, the old Vince Neil pushed the mic out to the crowd and let them sing the choruses. Definitely a story that bears watching. I got into it a lot the other day, but still a lot of interesting stuff coming out on that online. Okay, so news today. Sad note today that I woke up to, and that is the passing of the singer Bonnie Tyler. Bonnie Tyler, not necessarily, wouldn't necessarily say a rock artist, but she dabbled in the rock world a little bit. And certainly an artist that had a massive hit song back in the early 80s, Total Eclipse of the Heart. A song that has reached that rarefied air of gathering more than 1 billion, that's with a B, 1 billion streams. That's the new metric now. It's not about how many records you sold, it's about how many streams you got. And Total Eclipse of the Heart, 1 billion plus streams. Yeah, everybody knows that song. Turn Around, Bright Eyes. You guys all know it. A song that was written and produced by Jim Steinman, who, of course, was the guy behind Meat Loaf. And the story goes, if I remember it correctly, is that Total Eclipse of the Heart was actually something that Steinman had written for Meat Loaf that he never ended up recording. But when you know that song and you know the type of sound and delivery and material that Meat Loaf did on Bat Out of Hell, you could absolutely see the similarities. And that's all Jim Steinman, who also sadly passed away a few years ago. That's why I said, to me, it's a huge oversight that Meat Loaf has still not even been in consideration for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But if he ever does get that distinction, you absolutely have to include, in my opinion, Jim Steinman. Or at least an acknowledgement, or in some ways you make the case Steinman should be in there anyway on his own with his body of work. And again, you can't talk about Bonnie Tyler and this song, even though I've seen many who have in the last few hours since her death was revealed. But to me, you can't talk about this song and Bonnie Tyler without also recognizing Jim Steinman. Because it is him written all over it from a writing and production standpoint. Taking nothing away from Bonnie Tyler, whose vocal is incredible and has that very gravelly voice, which she was known for. Other hits from Bonnie Tyler were her very first hit, a song called It's a Heartache. Did okay in America, not a huge song. But another huge song that she did have was from the Footloose soundtrack a song called Holding Out for a Hero. Bonnie Tyler was born Gaynor Hopkins. That was her real name. She was Welsh, and she has passed away at the age of 75 years old. She died in Portugal, where she had a residency. She had been in a medically induced coma. She had some intestinal issues and surgery, and unfortunately did not survive. So rest in peace, Bonnie Tyler, gone at the age of 75. I mentioned the other day about the artist Yungblud, who I've now seen perform 3 times. And as I mentioned, I am fully rooting for the guy. We had him on this show. I've never met him personally yet. But in my view, as somebody who has spent my life in the world of rock music, he is probably our best hope to advance the ball and give it a big shot in the arm. And to some degree, he's done that already. And of course, he is not without his detractors. I talked about this, I believe it was on Monday on the show. That anytime you have anybody that comes onto the scene or that reaches a certain level of success and notoriety in whatever field they're in, there will always be people that will talk shit about them and try to knock them down a peg. It sucks, but it's just the way it is because there are a certain segment of people in this world that suck. And they thrive on being that negative force and trying to, disparage somebody or make shit up about somebody or, just diminish somebody in some way. So Yungblud has had his fair share of that. Even people who are public figures have done it, like Justin Hawkins of The Darkness, who had some very, very strong statements at one point about Yungblud. And they've alluded that he is a product of the industry, not legitimate, not real, whatever you want to say. And the other day, I guess about a week ago, Yungblud had done a major festival that he is branded with, I believe, in the UK. Huge crowning moment for him. He had his own plane. He posted pictures. Look, the other thing about Yungblud is the guy is crazy active on social media. He is one of these guys that every move, everything is on social media. And make no mistake, that is very orchestrated and very calculated. People like that at that level, they have teams of people that do that for them. They follow them into the store. They follow them into a grocery store. They follow them getting in and out of cars and planes. They follow them going to a restaurant, in a hotel, in front of fans. That's a whole business now. And it's all about pushing those images out to your fans and building this fan base and building this fanaticism and showing everybody what you had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, there's just people that do that. I see people online that just post pictures of their face 3 times a day, every day on Instagram. I don't quite understand that, but they do. I see people that, post stuff that just I'm surprised by, but teach their own. So the one thing is, to say he puts himself out there would be an understatement. And with that, you're going to catch some incoming fire. Somebody's always going to have something to say. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. He's doing anything wrong. I just think, he's a younger guy, and that's how people connect and build fan bases today. But I think some of this negativity that might be out there about him is because of that. And also because there are still people that feel he is a manufactured product. He's not a legitimate rock guy. And if you heard my interview with him when he was on, and you can hear it or see it anytime you want on demand, I brought all this up to him. And I said to him, because he referenced in that interview more than once the haters. And I went on this whole rant on that show the other day about saying, just get your head out of social media, get your head out of comments. You want to post a ton of shit on social media, do it, but post and move on and shut it down. Don't go looking for the likes, the comments, this and that. It will make you crazy. Pro or con, not worth it if you're in any level of notoriety. But some of these people can't help themselves, and maybe they learn the hard way. So he's gone into a bit of a spiral here. And I really, again, I'm rooting for the guy. And I expressed my concern about this, again, in that interview a few months ago, if you go hear it. And I said something to him, I remember in that interview, where I said, hey, I hope you got good people around you, because we don't need you going off the rails and becoming a rock and roll casualty here. The people that are rooting for you and hoping you're the guy that's going to kind of usher in rock again. And I remember he said something to me about he had good people around him. And I remember he had also said that he had taken some time off. He had postponed some shows to get some rest and to regroup. Well, he's done that again, because he was supposed to perform at a festival in Canada, and he has now canceled it, his performance. His team, if you will, has put out a statement, and he put out a statement. Let me see if I can read this to you. Okay, I don't know what. I don't need the music.
I've got it here. Do you want me to read it?
Well, I'm looking at something now that's like, how the hell do you mute the music? God. Okay. Okay. Let me see what this is. This might be a new one. Okay, it looks like he posted something from a fan. I don't know. Okay, so this is a message from Youngblood Management. Reluctantly, we have made the decision as a team, to pull Youngblood from the Cowboys Music Festival in Calgary this Sunday. We're sorry for any disappointment this may cause. These are not decisions we take lightly. All other scheduled shows will go ahead as planned. And then a note from Dom, who is, of course, Youngblood. That's his real name. To all my family in Canada, I apologize for not being there with you this weekend. I'm currently in a place where I'm working on myself and taking time off at home in the UK. I'm taking this extremely seriously and facing head-on what's going on for the good of the long term. I will never take any of this for granted, and I will see you all soon. I love you all. So I don't know what's going on here. And look, I'm glad that he shut it down. And if he is having some issues, that he is recognizing that, because again, I don't want to overblow this, but how many emerging rock artists have we lost around this age throughout the decades? And I don't think anybody can prepare you for the type of success that seemingly happened overnight for this guy. Although it was not overnight. His success was not overnight. He had records and a history before this, but he really, a year ago, blew up because of Back to the Beginning. So I don't think anybody can prepare you for what's happened to him in the last year, because that was just, like a rocket. But still, if this is driven by social media stuff and or just exhaustion or what, but my God, if this is because he mentioned, even in my interview with him, the haters. My God, man, you cannot obsess on that. And I know, I don't know, people are wired different ways. Maybe for some people it's harder not to roll that stuff off your back. Again, he's relatively new to this level of success, so maybe he hasn't figured it out yet. But man, you are tooling around in a private plane. You are playing to thousands of people. You are an arena act in England and Europe. I mean, you've had a year that people could only dream of. Just don't let trolls and nonsense take you down. Tune it out. Now, look, if he just needs some rest, that's understandable as well, because the guy is a maniac, apparently, as far as a worker, from what I've heard. But still, this is really concerning, and I'm rooting for the guy, and I hope he figures it out, whatever's going on. If he just needs some rest, that's good. But it seems like there's more than that going on, and hoping for the best for him. So anyway, I just wanted to update that a little bit, because we talked about that earlier in the week, and now we have another cancellation where he is kind of checking out here for a little bit. Although they say the other shows are going to go forward, he does have another American show, I know, at the Buffalo Chip in Sturgis next month, so we'll keep an eye on this. Another note to share with you today, legendary Black Sabbath drummer Bill Ward made a social media post which got a lot of attention last night, really, later in the day, depending upon your time zone. Bill put out a photo of himself in a wheelchair, telling folks to, basically letting folks know that he is now going to be seen in a wheelchair many times. He is stressing that he's not retiring, stressing that he can still play drums, but walking has become a bit difficult, and he got out in front of it with a photo of him in the chair and a statement telling people to not be alarmed if they see him in a wheelchair. It's all good. He just needs some help getting around. Statement from Bill Ward says, quote, "Something new to let you know about, dear friends, fans, family, and people I've not yet met. I'm announcing today, somewhat sadly, but nonetheless truthfully, that I've reached a place where publicly more and more I need to use a wheelchair, mostly in airports or public events. I can still walk, let there be no doubt, but I can't walk very far without needing a rest, meaning I need to sit down. Started using the wheelchair about 18 months ago, mostly in airports. I became 78 years old in May. I was a long-distance walker. I've walked in many different parts of the world, and I'm still a drummer, and I can still play pretty good for 78 years old. My talents and ambitions and my unyielding need to be artful and to play drums is still as strong as it was so many years ago. I'm just saying, if you see me in a wheelchair, I'm just catching a ride. I'm not in retirement or giving up or any of those thoughts that ignite when you see people in wheelchairs. I'm making myself public and transparent about my new transport and letting you know I'm okay. If you see me in the airports or visiting friends in the music areas, arenas, or theaters, say hi. I don't bite. I'll just look different as pictured here. Much love to you all. Keep rock, and I'll keep rocking until I'm dead. Rock forever and ever, Bill Ward. Bill Ward is classy as ever. He's a wonderful guy. I'm fortunate to know him. And he's just getting out in front. So, and he is right. You see somebody, if he didn't make a statement like that, and you saw Bill Ward and he's in a wheelchair, the first thing you'd think is, oh my God, he's sick, something's wrong with him. And he's just saying he's not as mobile as he used to be and he needs help getting around at 78 years old. So be well, Bill, and handled that extremely well. A couple other quick notes, then we'll get to your calls. Metal Hammer Magazine did an interview with Bruce Dickinson and Steve Harris. They reiterated their incomplete, let's be honest, disdain for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We know Maiden has been inducted. We know Maiden are going in, despite the fact that they will not be there and want nothing to do with it, and despite the fact that many of their fans, myself included, have voted for them and ranted and raved that they should be in. As I have said consistently, knowing those guys, knowing that whole organization, we care as fans. They give zero fucks. And, Maiden did not come close to winning in the fan voting, which, again, is pretty much meaningless, as has been proven many times. However, I believe they would have won the fan voting by a landslide if they cared about being in the Hall of Fame and if they told their fan base to vote, which not only did they not tell their fan base to vote, they poo-pooed the whole thing. Regardless, they are going in, and we know they are not going to be there because they are playing a show in Australia. Well, in this interview with Metal Hammer, which is a major magazine in the UK, Bruce Dickinson and Steve Harris were asked if they weren't playing on that night, would they attend the ceremony? And they both said no. They both said no. That, Steve Harris said it's not his kind of thing. He doesn't go to those sort of things. Bruce Dickinson, who's been very outspoken against the Hall of Fame, basically just said no. So again, the convenience of them playing is a nice out for them, but even if they weren't playing, they were not going and participating in this. Steve Harris in the interview also said the only thing he's happy about the Hall of Fame, is the fact that the Americans can stop banging on about how they should be in. So, and that's another thing that's interesting, and I've said this so many times, and we do not have an answer on this. Is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame purely viewed, the inductees, through an American lens, or is it a global recognition? And every indicator is it's very much an American lens. I don't think it holds any real weight outside of America with anybody. And they certainly don't take international success into account with the acts that they do or do not induct. But just for clarity, they want nothing to do with this, as I've been saying for years and have reinforced it once again. And I don't even know, I'm going to be honest with you about something. I don't even know how this writer for Metal Hammer brought this up to those guys, because I and many others were asked to not even bring it up to them. That's how adamantly against this whole thing they are. But this writer in Metal Hammer was, whether he breached it or wasn't told not to, got what is very obvious, that they weren't going. They could have been in LA across the street at a hotel from the event, and they weren't going. Which also now raises two more questions when it comes to Iron Maiden with this event. Number one, what happens at their induction? Like I've been saying all along, I can guarantee you if there's any performance of their music at all, it will be some sort of all-star band, and I guarantee you it will be a lot of the usual suspects in the heavy rock world that will be asked to perform a couple Iron Maiden songs. When I say usual suspects, you know, Tom Morello, Slash, Dave Grohl, you know, Chad Smith of the Chili Peppers on drums. You know what I'm saying? There's people that you see, these producers in their mind, the usual, the immediate people when we need the token rock people or metal people. But who knows? Maybe there won't even be a performance because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame themselves might be so pissed off about this. They might just say, screw it, we're going to give them an award and put a video package up and move on. That's what they did with Kiss. If you remember, Kiss is one of the few bands I can think of that went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with zero musical performance. They didn't play, and nobody played in tribute to them. I was there. And a lot of that was because, of course, they refused to play with Ace and Peter at that time. So it could be something like that. Which, again, at the end of the day, the people that lose in all of that is you and I, the fans. Because we all wanted to see this happen, and you are going to get very shortchanged. I've said it a million times about the Kiss one. That's a band that, you know, nonstop, everything's for the fans. Well, they couldn't get together for a song or two for the fans. The fans wanted that moment, and we got shortchanged. Same thing could be happening with Maiden, but they don't care. And then the other question that comes into play with this is you've got Blaze Bayley, Dennis Stratton, and Nico McBrain surviving, living Iron Maiden former members who are no longer in the band, but feel like they really want to go to this party, but they don't want to piss off the Maiden camp. So now they're in a spot. Poor Dennis Stratton, nobody has said his name in 43 years. He's just got a moment where he can finally get somebody to recognize him, and he's worried about going. Same with Blaze Bayley. It's crazy. Poor bastards just want to go there and have a little cheese and crackers and a glass of champagne and get a little acknowledgement and fly back to England. They're worried they're going to get the wrath of the Maiden camp come down on them. It's unbelievably interesting to me to watch all this unfold. So I guarantee you there will be more layers to it as we go and as it gets closer and closer. But, you know, there's some interesting questions still now on the Maiden side of things. We talked about the Stones, who their new album comes out tomorrow, and they are not planning any live shows, although Mick Jagger has said maybe next year. He'll see how Keith is feeling. However, Ron Wood and Mick Jagger did get up and do a song from the new album at a fan event in England. So Jagger and Ron Wood still very much have the itch to do some sort of live performance. And a guy that claims he is going to be shutting down his performances at the end of this year, and we all know how that goes, but that would be original Foreigner lead singer Lou Gramm. who is 76 years old. Lou's been on this show many times. Great guy, one of the great singers. And Lou has announced that by the end, after this year is done, his days of performing will be over and he plans to retire. Lou Gramm also continues to make guest appearances with his band Foreigner from time to time, and also recently released a new solo album. Joel, anything you got?
Just a quick note to add, Mastodon have released a new short film titled The Mastodon in the Room. It's in commemoration of their guitarist and vocalist Brent Hines, who passed away in a motorcycle crash last year. It's going to be a hybrid of footage plus reactions of the founding members, and it'll be 35 minutes, and it's available on YouTube currently. We also have a couple of birthdays. Happy birthday to Frank Bello, 61. And yes, and it would have been the late Bon Scott's 80th birthday. There's a bunch of events going on, including an event here in New York City at the Cutting Room, which we spoke to Corey Glover about.
Yeah, so that's tonight. Yeah, so this is this Bon Scott would have been 80 years old today, and they're having a jam in New York City, which they do every year on Bon's birthday, and that is headlined by Corey Glover of Living Colour singing. I also know my buddy Steve Brown from Trickster is going to be playing some guitar there, so that's happening tonight in New York on what would have been Bon's 80th birthday. So rest in peace, Bon Scott. And happy birthday to my dear, dear, old, long time friend, Frank Bello, who I believe Anthrax is on tour at the moment in Europe. Frankie and I are the same age at 61 for another month. I almost got a year on that son of a bitch. All right, thank you for that, Joel. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, we have Carl Bell, guitarist, co-founder of the band Fuel, joining us later in the program to world premiere a brand new Fuel song, which comes out tomorrow. That's coming up a little later on. Before we get to that, though, we have roughly an hour, maybe a little under, to talk to you and go free for all at 844-686-5863, 844-686-5863. Anything I just threw out there, anything from throughout the week, anything you want to hit me with, it's all good. We'll get into it with you on the phones after this. And Kiss Army, start packing for Vegas, because now's your chance to meet Gene Simmons and other rock icons at the Legends of Rock Expo. It's happening September 25th through the 27th at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. More than 30 rock legends will be hanging out all in one place. From Gene Simmons and other members of Kiss to Stuart Copeland of the Police, Geezer Butler of Black Sabbath, Dave Davies of the Kinks, Jerry Sheff from Elvis's TCB Band, and many more. It's your exclusive backstage pass to autographs, photo ops, live panels, collectibles, and merch, plus 11 live bands performing throughout the weekend. The Legends of Rock Expo is open to the public, and tickets are on sale now at legendsofrockexpo.com, or you can purchase tickets at the door. Get ready to rock with Gene Simmons and friends at the Legends of Rock Expo, September 25th through 27th at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino.
Welcome back to the Rock Destination. Rock Nation. Your authority for all things rock.
Amazing show.
News, interviews, and your sounding board to talk all things, well, you know. Crunk Nation with Eddie Trunk. Eddie Trunk. Sirius XM.
Just awesome.
Faction Talk.
All right, let's get into it. Let you guys get on the air here and hit me with anything you want in rock music. 844-686-5863. 844-686-5863. That event that I just read the commercial for, the Rock Legends deal, we had David Ellefson on the show yesterday. Ellefson mentioned he's going to be at that. And the copy says other members of KISS. And I know Bruce Kulick's doing it. I believe Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer are doing it as well. So it's pretty much everybody but Paul Stanley in terms of and Peter Criss, of course, in terms of, and Vinnie Vincent. I was going to say in terms of surviving members of KISS. All right, let's get into it on the phone, see what you guys have in mind today. Here's Chelsea in Arizona getting us started. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, Eddie. How are you?
Good, thanks. What's happening?
So I was just wondering if you've seen that new festival. It's called Daisy Chain Fields. It's by Olivia Rodrigo. It's an all-female rock festival, essentially.
No, I've never even heard of it.
Really? Okay. Well, it's got some really great acts. It's Bikini Kill. They've got Mitski, Chappell Roan. They've also got Karen O, Stevie Nicks. It's the Breeders are going to be there. It seems really, really cool. It's
all female bands.
Yep, all female bands.
And where is it?
It's going to be it's in Irvine, California, on August 29th.
Okay, now I wonder. I'm not. There was an amphitheater there, but I know it's not there anymore. But I think they built a new venue. I'm not sure. I've not heard much about venues in that area.
It says Great Park.
Great Park. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that area
I'm
that
not
well.
Sure what that is.
Yeah, and it's one day. It's all female artists, and there's some rock artists in there. It sounds like as well, right?
Yeah. It seems really cool.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for letting us know about it. I was unaware of it, Chelsea. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right. See you. Curious if I did not get a chance to ask Chelsea this. She's gone already, but I was curious to see if there's a band on that bill called Turning Jane, who are a good young all-female rock band who Olivia Rodrigo's drummer is the drummer in that band as well. I know that because I did an event, a speaking show that Turning Jane was the music, the band that played before or after me in California. And then I was later made aware that her drummer is actually in that band. I'm trying to see. I had a note about it, but okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Sounds cool. Thank you for that, Chelsea. Here is Brian joining us from New Jersey today. Hi, Brian.
What's up, Ed? Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, man.
I think the Maiden guys should just send Eddie to receive the award up on the podium. I don't know who's going to induct those guys, but
Brian, that's come up, and I agree with you. I think that would be funny, and that's exactly what they should do. They should just have a giant Eddie or a medium-sized Eddie walk out, grab the award, turn around, and walk off. I mean, that would be perfect. And that's the other question too. Who does the induction? Because normally the act being inducted approves that. But if Maiden is so checked out on this, they might not even want to have anything to do with that aspect of it. And then in that case, they'll end up just, putting anybody out there to do it. I mean, I guarantee you front and center on it is going to be Tom Morello, not only because he's one of those go-to immediate guys when you need a rock guy, but he's also a vote on the nominating committee for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is one of the biggest guys that champion them getting in. So he might, just like he did KISS, he might end up doing them too as far as the induction.
I say Scott Ian. He'd do the best induction ever. And I know that's not PC. Oh, and they're going to be on tour with him anyway. So,
Yeah. I mean, look, anybody that's in any metal band is certainly going to be somebody that's going to have good things to say about Maiden, no question. It's just going to be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is always going to look for the biggest known commodity face that they can get. That's how all those award shows are wired.
Hey, I just wanted to make another quick point. I wanted to thank you for having Billy Sheehan and Dave on the last couple days. I called in when Billy was on the other day, and super influences on me. But this whole metal church thing that Dave's doing, I think that's amazing. That's so great. They're such a great band. like you said yesterday, they didn't cut through. But I'll tell you what, man, I listen to them all the time. Their new stuff, none of that music has dropped off. It's like overkill, you know? Every record's great. They do what they do, and they do it great. So I'm glad Dave is going out and playing with them. I am definitely going to see that when they come around.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. We had a good conversation with Ellefson yesterday, and yeah, we talked about it with Ellefson. I mean, Metal Church is just one of these bands that there was so much promise for them to be this huge metal band when they came out, and it just did not materialize. Like Ellefson and I talked about yesterday, I remember it clearly. I mean, there was literally dialogue at one point. It's like, who was going to be the bigger band, Metal Church or Metallica? It's amazing when that sort of stuff happens. You know, I've seen some stuff floating around online lately, people talking about like, and this could be a good question you might want to call in with. What band did you see as an opening act that went on to become huge, but you saw them as an unknown opening act? And that's an interesting question. And the one I always default to is I saw Metallica open for the Rods and Vandenberg. And it was Staten Island, New York, Paramount Theater, and I got the ticket stub to prove it. And yes, Metallica was the third band first on that day. It was Dave Mustaine's last show he played with Metallica. So imagine that, Bill, but that happened, you know? With Bon Jovi getting active again, it came up about Bon Jovi because I think the Bon Jovi social media may have even posted this. You know, when was the earliest you saw Bon Jovi, or what did you? Well, I saw Bon Jovi open for 38 Special in New Jersey. So those are always interesting when you look back and you have those experiences. But a band like Metal Church, I mean, they were on some of these bills as like co-headliners, and you wondered which one was going to be the bigger band. That's how much promise there was with Metal Church. Another one with Metallica is, remember, one of their first big tours was a co-headline with Raven. The Kill 'Em All for One tour. That's why when Metallica did a tribute show to Johnny Z, which they had me host in Florida a few years ago, they had Raven open because it was a throwback to them. Here's Rick in New York joining us on Trunk Nation. Go ahead, Rick.
Hey, Ed. How you doing, my friend?
Good, Rick. Thanks.
Good. I wanted to just catch up with you. I was at the Bon Jovi show on Tuesday night.
Oh, I was looking to hear from somebody who was actually there, so let's hear it.
Yeah, so I was in, just to give you a little an idea where I was in terms of the show itself, section 115, which is off to the left, row 8, seat 4 and 5. I preferred that seat because I'm a musician myself and I'm a gearhead, and I like to see what the guys are using on stage. Typically, when you sit there, the sound, you don't get the right sound if you were sitting center. But I will tell you, who's ever on the board that night did a really good job for the people on the sides of the stage. In terms of John's performance, I would say somewhere in between great and good. He really let himself out there, played this vulnerable part of trying to make a comeback, and that's the only reason why I was there, because I love a good comeback story. I'm really not a big Bon Jovi fan. I'm more in the hard rock side of things. First time I've ever seen them live, and I will tell you, if there's anybody in your audience that's thinking about getting tickets, I would say go ahead and do it. It's a full sound, but there's 7 guys up on stage. Phil X is kicking major ass up there playing guitar, as we would expect. Tico Torres, for 72 years old, still has it. He could still play the drums, that man. One of the things that you may not have seen on some of the videos that you're catching on Instagram and other social media sites, John plays guitar for probably 50% of the set, and he sings at the same time. So you got to give this guy a lot of credit for coming back out after what happened 4 years ago. I thought he was really, really good. Great show. And if I had the opportunity, I probably would go again.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate that report, Rick. And was there an opening act, Rick?
No, there wasn't. They went on. They were supposed to go on 7:30. They hit the stage at about 7:42. Played straight through. So no opening act.
Got it. All right. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. A lot of discussion about Bon Jovi making that return to the live stage. There's Rick's account, having actually been in Madison Square Garden for that show. Interesting what Rick said, though. Well, first of all, Rick's saying he's more of a hard rock guy. Let's not forget, Bon Jovi at one point in their career was absolutely a hard rock band and was absolutely marketed as a hard rock band. You listen to stuff, especially on those first 3-4 records. I mean, whether it's Lay Your Hands on Me or Let It Rock or Roulette, all that stuff, In and Out of Love. I mean, that was totally in line with what was happening at that time in the hard rock scene. But as I've mentioned many, many times, he has completely evolved outside of that now. In the direction of the music, in the delivery of the music, and in his own performance. Rick saying yes, John put a lot of work into getting back to doing this to this level, and congrats to him, and I appreciate that as a fan. And again, I most appreciate the fact that by every indication, it looks like it's totally real when he could have faked it. So nothing but respect for that. But Rick talking about him playing guitar and singing at the same time, he's been doing that for a long time. I'm not exactly sure why, since he has so many other musicians in the band now. But the thing that I keep going back to, though, is from a performance standpoint. He just stands at that mic. And man, when you look back on him back in the day, he did anything but that. And that's the one that I find a bit head-scratching. Because again, he is still, it's not like he's 80 years old. Guy's not even 70 yet. And he's appears to be in tip-top physical shape. So that's the one, him just kind of posting up on that mic stand, that I never quite understood. But is what it is at this point. And the fact that he's been able to get back out there again in any capacity at a decent level, definitely put the work in for that. Let's go to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Here's Chris joining us right now. Hey, Chris, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, so this morning I was listening to Underground Garage, and they played the new single by Stanley Simmons, Dancing While the World is Ending, and I just think it's a phenomenal song. It's kind of got a 60s vibe. I almost thought it reminded me of like the Byrds, like a little bit on the trippy side, but it's really good. And, you talk about Youngblood and some other bands being the future, and I really think I'm 59 years old. I think they're the future. They're funny. They got a lot of, for lack of a better word, charisma. So I just wanted to get your take on it, buddy. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Chris. I can't give you an accurate take on that until I see them perform live, which I've not done yet. I can tell you from the music I've heard, I think it was Chris, the caller. I think his assessment is pretty spot on. They do seem to be kind of musically all over the map. There's moments where they're kind of more of like a Simon Garfunkel thing. There are moments where it's more of like a rock thing. As he said, moments where it's kind of like a fun thing. But they're not what I mean by Youngblood. And look, if you like Youngblood or you don't, again, totally your prerogative. I mean, that's just opinion, okay, from the musical standpoint. Is his music like 100% my world and what I wish he was doing? No. I mean, I don't dislike it. I actually like it. But I'm just saying it's not, if I had my preference, he'd be making way more guitar-driven, way more stripped down, not as produced, in-your-face hard rock. I'd sit him down and play him Appetite for Destruction, start to finish, and say, let's go, But that's not where he's at not right now. That's why I keep saying the next record for him is critical. But what I mean by when I talk about Youngblood, in my opinion, being a guy that could really put rock at the forefront again, he is the total package in terms of the look, the delivery, the performance. I mean, look at what the guy has accomplished in basically a year. Let's be honest. Until a year ago, nobody had a clue who this guy was in America. In a year, he's selling out 5,000, 6,000 capacity places. I went, I saw the audience, I saw the reaction, I saw the mix of people in the crowd. It's men, it's women, it's old, it's young. That's what I mean, the crossover appeal. You got 16-year-old girls screaming for him. You got 60-year-old women screaming for him. And then you got guys checking him out because he did a Sabbath song and did a thing with Aerosmith. So, to me, I mean, what I've seen, and it's still early days, but from the Stanley Simmons thing, it's not even close to that. It's not even in the same world. Their approach is totally different. They're doing something totally different. To their credit, by the way, they're doing something completely not expected at all, I don't think, from people who would say, oh, that's Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley's kid. They're definitely out on their own trip. I mean, it would have been very easy for them to do a Kiss-like hard rock band. I'm not saying in costumes and makeup, but I'm saying, more guitar-driven hard rock. They're not doing that at all. They're doing something completely different. Kind of reminded me of Wolfgang Van Halen, who when he first came out, people thought, oh, he's going to come out and do this very guitar-centric, ripping Van Halen-esque sort of band. He didn't really do that. And he doesn't play one Van Halen song. And of course, when I've asked him about it and others, he said, my dad said to me, you do you. And this is what I want to do as an artist. So to Nick Simmons and Evan Stanley's credit, they're doing their own thing without a doubt. I mean, what they're doing, honestly, for hardcore Kiss fans, if you know about the very first band that Gene and Paul had before Kiss that did make a record called Wicked Lester, to me, what they're doing is almost in line more with elements of that band than Kiss. Now, that's a deep reference, but if you know that material, you know what I'm talking about. Very trippy, like 60s influenced, like Simon and Garfunkel-y, but other elements, So again, they're giving it a go, doing their own thing and not leaning beyond using the name, which of course is their last name. They're doing their own thing. So I give them a lot of credit for that. But to me, it's way too early, and I've not seen or heard nearly enough to anoint them at the level that Youngblood has been, which is a whole different thing. I mean, there's again, whether you like him or not, there is legitimate buzz and like frenzy around that guy. Like, we've not seen a star like that emerge in a really long time. And with that emergence, and with that bravado that he brings, and with that attitude he brings, that's why you were also going to get the haters. And that's why the guy is in a shell right now and canceled a couple shows, which, again, I really wish he could tune that out. I met Evan Stanley last year at the Kiss Vegas cruise landlocked deal. Nice guy. Just had a brief exchange, said hello. He said hello, shook hands. Good luck with your music. That was it. Was in this VIP area at that event. Never met Nick Simmons. When before this Simmons Stanley thing was going, Evan Stanley was doing another band that was a straight up hard rock band. I had extended, because I liked that actually more musically than what this is. And I extended an invitation to him to come on the air and talk about that band, which was accepted by the publicist and then later canceled. I'll leave it to you and anyone's guess as to why that may have happened. But the door is always open. Johnny in Dallas. Hi, Johnny.
Hey, Eddie. Thank you for taking my call. Good afternoon to you. I wanted to talk a little bit about AI, and I don't really understand it very much, but I kind of got caught. I was looking through Apple Music, and if you remember the band Soraya, I always try to make sure I have music downloaded by them or the albums and stuff. And I came across an album that said Soraya featuring Sleaze Parade. And I started listening, just getting excited that it may have been new music. And then after doing a little research, after listening to the songs, it's come to find out, apparently it's all AI generated. And the music sounded good. The voice sounded like Sandy Soraya, but apparently it's all AI generated. I don't know if you may have heard those or if somebody may have brought this up, a month or so ago, because the album was released or shows released in November of 2025.
No, I've not heard about that, but that's an odd thing because Soraya was not a big band and did not break and did not have anything close to a hit. So why somebody would choose to impersonate them is kind of odd, but I don't know. First I'm hearing about that one. Yeah,
I was very surprised. Again, just got excited about it. And yeah, I know they weren't a big band, and that's kind of what surprised me too, was that why would you pick Soraya as a band to do? If you don't mind, I had a couple of throwdown suggestions.
Sure.
I kind of thought of them after hearing you talk about Eat 'em and Smile and the anniversary, and I know you did Eat 'em and Smile versus 5150. But has anyone ever brought up possibly doing Don Dokken, Up from the Ashes, and George Lynch's Lynch Mob, Wicked Sensation?
No, I don't know if enough people know that Dokken record to do that, but no, that's not come up, but not a horrible idea. I just don't know if either of those records were big enough, although Wicked Sensation is a great record. But I gotta think about that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. You have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate you listening. Thank you. It's amazing how often the band Soraya comes up on this show or even my Hair Nation show. Because they're a band that literally, unfortunately, commercially went nowhere. I'm not saying it's not good music. Their records are great. But I know them because I'm from New Jersey, and that's where Sandy Soraya is from. And I remember the story of when she got signed. She was working in a record store. It was a very local story at the time. So I played, working in New Jersey radio at the time, I played the record because it was homegrown stuff for us. But it's 35 years or so later, and people still bring those they only made those two records up. It's crazy. And they're great records. I'm not trying to diminish it. It's just amazing how often I hear about that. I don't know if it's just because people know I'm from New Jersey, and they're like, oh, you're going to know who they are. But no, the AI thing is... Every day I'm hearing and seeing new things that are like, again, glass half empty, glass half full. You be the judge. You're embracing it. You're scared of it. I mean, for all the benefits, there's negative stuff. I don't know. I am probably at my great detriment. I am not very, very well versed in technology and I'm pretty much always kind of behind the curve with some of that stuff. Rudy Sarzo recently came under some fire because he admitted he just released his first solo song, which utilizes AI heavily. And he admitted this. And then later had to defend his decision to make an AI-generated song. Now, you may say, why would Rudy do that? He's an accomplished musician. Well, not every accomplished musician is a songwriter, different skill set. Not every accomplished musician can sing or play all instruments. So if you have an idea and you have an AI program and you might want to maybe put some live bass down, and then you want to bring in an AI vocal track and a fake singing, and there's your song. And you want to put it out and tell everybody you're being transparent, it is AI. People can take it how they feel. It is a slippery slope of rapidly evolving and changing world that we are going into. And how it's all going to play out is anyone's guess here, folks. I'll tell you what, you know who else might be totally screwed? Because they're talking, the negative side of AI is how many jobs it's going to take away. People who do voiceover work. Because a friend of mine is putting on some local shows here in Vegas. And he always sends me the video ads that he makes for these shows. Come see whoever at whatever venue, July 22nd, don't miss it, 8 p.m., all that kind of shit. And I'm listening to it and watching it, and I said, hey, who did you get to do the voiceover for this ad? So I was like, I'll throw my name in the hat. I've done some of that stuff. And he goes, oh, nobody. I said, well, who's the voice? He goes, it's AI. That one hit me square between the eyes. Now, I don't make my living doing voiceovers. I've done a few of them, and it's great when you can get work like that. And there are people in this world that make tons of money doing that. It's really, I've always said, one of the ultimate gigs. If you're a top voiceover guy, you can make crazy money and get residuals just for reading a sentence into a microphone, and that's it. And there are people that do that. The big voice movie trailer guys, the big voice radio guys, the TV guys that you just hear going into commercials. That's big business. We had John Bush from Armored Saint on this show just a few weeks ago. John checked out of performing and touring for years because he started getting voiceover work. He was the voice of Burger King for a few years. Didn't have to work. Just going into his living room, going into a microphone and going, try the new Whopper with jalapeno cheese, available for a limited time. Boom. And you get paid residuals in some cases every time after that airs. Now, it's not easy work to get, but it's amazing if you can do it. I did it for a little while. I got a Marriott commercial. I remember it was the voice of a pizza chain in Cincinnati for a couple years. Did a Verizon spot, and then I had my highest paying one was for Rolaids. And I'll never forget the line. The line was, really hurts when I fill up. There were like 4 other people on the spot. I get the copy. It's that one sentence. I said, you just read this? Yeah, really hurts when I fill up. I can't even remember how much money I got paid for that. Every time I heard the stupid commercial on the radio or TV, Waiting for my little 3-second part. Boom. So if you can pop stuff like that, you can make some real money. My point about bringing this up in the context of AI is now you don't know if a singer on a song is a real human. And now you don't know if you hear these voices, if that's a real human. And needless to say, if you are in radio and you are not doing a talk show, unfortunately, for my radio brothers and sisters out there, if you are doing music-based radio, look, that has been a downward spiral in terms of job opportunity for 20 years because of computers and pre-recorded tracks. Now, you may not even need a human being. I've talked about this before. A number of years ago, when the advent of voice tracking started, they would export the same host to 10 radio stations that the company owned, eating up 10 jobs because one person's on 10 stations at the same time. That happened years ago. Now, with the emergence of AI, you don't even need the one person to do the 10 stations. Think about that. Now, if you're doing talk, whether it's sports, politics, news, what I do, well, that's different because people are listening for that person and their opinions and what they're sharing. But if you're saying that was AC/DC, here's Def Leppard, whew. And I know this for a fact because I have friends that are dealing with that right now in the radio world. Talked to one of them the other day. Worked in Philadelphia for years and is now no longer working. Doing country radio. You know, in the radio world, the only stopgap for it is if you are in a major market. Most of those major markets have a union. And the union is putting provisions in. The union put in provisions a long time ago in major markets to stop some of the voice tracking to a certain degree. And now they're in there battling the AI thing. But in the medium to smaller markets that aren't under the union jurisdiction, I mean, most of them have not a live human being working in there. It's very sad. Don in Florida. Go ahead, Don.
Hey, Ed, how you doing?
Hey, buddy. Hey, Don, one more thing. Hold on. Before you make your point, one other quick AI thing I want to tell people. The other thing on the AI thing is the power that's needed for AI. And there, you are already hearing about these power generating stations. And they are here in Nevada, where there's a lot of open land and desert and solar and heat. They are building, there's this company called Switch, and you go down the highway and they're taking over tons of property with these buildings, and all of it is for AI processing and the incredible amount of energy it takes to do that. And people are protesting those plants because they're eating up a lot of open space. So there's so many different layers to this. Anyway, go ahead, Don. What do you want to say?
Going back to that Lou Graham thing you said earlier, that he said he claims he's retiring at the end of this year. So he's already booked for next February for a cruise with Foreigner. And then I was watching that show the video last night, and Jeff Pilson I thought he made a comment that Lou was going to be doing some sort of Foreigner 4 residency in Vegas in the spring of next year.
Well, you know what I say all the time, Don.
I know. I was just, I was watching that last night, and I was confused because I know I'm going to see him on that cruise. So,
what is the cruise?
It's that Rock Legends cruise.
And Foreigner is playing on it with Lou?
Yeah, it's billed as Foreigner with special guest Lou Graham.
Oh, wow. And that's next year?
It's in February.
Okay. Well, I mean, Lou is maybe going to put his, maybe that's his farewell cruise. I don't know. Maybe it's his retirement to playing shows on land. I don't know.
But then I thought I heard Jeff say that they were doing a residency after that, and I thought Lou was going to participate in that, but I'm not positive on that one.
Yeah, I mean, look, what we've seen with Foreigner, and thank you, Don. I'll see, see if we can find out with Lou, but what we've seen with Foreigner, and we've seen for 20 years probably now. I mean, they've largely, for the most part, have played with no original members for that long, and do great business, do great renditions of the songs. They have laid the blueprint that so many other artists would love to be able to replicate. And that is to put basically a sanctioned tribute band on the road using the name and making money for the person who owns the name, who in this case is Mick Jones, who is not toured and is sitting at home getting paid. And there are so many artists that want to try to pull that move off. Whether they're trying to pull it off using holograms, using no original members, whatever the case may be, they all want to pull it off. Some will be able to, some will not. But Foreigner laid the blueprint, and I've said it a billion times, and I firmly stand behind it. The reason why Foreigner has successfully been able to do this is because Foreigner was never built on star personalities and people in the band. Mick Jones was not a guitar hero. People did not have Mick Jones posters on their wall. Lou Gramm was not David Lee Roth or Steven Tyler. A phenomenal singer. Mick Jones, phenomenal songwriter. But to some degree, a faceless band in the sense that they were not star personalities. It was about the songs. Say the same thing about a band like Boston. If Tom Scholz was willing to let a version of Boston go out, kind of like what Mick Jones is doing, if Tom Scholz put together a new version of Boston that he oversaw and executed the songs really well like the current Foreigner does, I think he'd do very good business. Because very, very, very few people who listen to More Than a Feeling 15 times a day could tell you who Tom Scholz is. Or Brad Delp or anybody else. Same difference there. Boston doesn't do that. Foreigner has. And on the flip side of that conversation, you really couldn't have an Aerosmith without Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. You really can't have a Led Zeppelin without Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. You really can't have an AC/DC without Angus Young. So you see where the difference is? Those bands are built on very identifiable people, star personalities. Some bands are not. It's not a question of who's better or not. It's not a question of the validity of the music. It's just the way it's marketed. Here's Mike in North Carolina. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Eddie, I've got two shows for you with bands that went on to be bigger opening. So I've got all my concert tickets. So here we go. Danzig, May 2nd, 1995 for $15 with Marilyn Manson and Korn opening for them. And then Saturday, October 4th, 1997, Foreman Field, which is at ODU, which is our local college. It was a stadium. SWV, which is Sisters with Voices, which is an R&B band. The Foo Fighters opened for them, and Talk Show opened for the Foo Fighters. That's SPP without Scott Weiland. That was $5.
Wait. So who was the headliner on that?
SWV, which is Sisters with Voices. They're an R&B group. Then the Foo Fighters, then Talk Show. The
so
headliner
Foo
was
Fighters were
SWV.
second, and Talk Show, was Talk Show Weiland, or was it Robert and Dean? No, that
It was the
Army
guys
of
without
Anyone.
Wayland.
Talk
Right.
Show was the
Without
guys without Weiland.
Yes.
All right, I
They
got
had
confused.
the song car was it was about a car was their only hit.
Wow, and where was
That's
that?
all I remember of them. That was at the football stadium at ODU. That was $5.
Whatever
97.
became of Sisters with Voices?
I have no idea. I have no idea, sir. But my ears perked up when you mentioned bigger names opening for people. So I said, well, the Foo Fighters opened for SWV. So there you go.
Yeah,
And
that's
then Korn
crazy.
and Manson opened for Danzig.
Yeah,
then, of
that
course-
I remember. That I definitely
Yeah.
remember. I didn't see Manson. Talk Show was the DeLeos. I forgot about that one. Thank you, Mike. I saw Manson in a club, Birch Hill, Old Bridge, New Jersey. Maybe 100 people there when the first album had just come out. Now, that's a different conversation. What band did you see really early on before they broke? But we can get into some of this maybe next week. Could be a good topic show. What major band did you see as an unknown opening act? I like that. Joel, you can put that on the list. We can get into doing that next week. Find an open show for sure. We've never done anything like that. I think that's going to inspire a lot of good conversation and memories. All right, I got to take a break. Sorry if I didn't get to you in that almost hour of open phones, free for all action. But we got something cool when we come back from the break. Carl Bell, founder, songwriter, guitarist of the band Fuel, a band I really, really love. They've got a brand new song coming out tomorrow, their first in a long time, called Want It. Carl joins us for a few minutes to tell us about it, and you don't have to wait till tomorrow because here on Trunk Nation,
We're talking about it
This is Trunk Nation.
with Eddie Trunk, Sirius XM.
Faction Talk.
All right, we're back here on Trunk Nation, Faction Talk 103 and the Sirius XM app, and it is great to be joined by this guy. I've been a fan of his band pretty much since day one. Had a chance to see him live a few times recently on the Creed cruises. Always a lot of fun to hang with these guys, and one of my favorite bands to go see live as well. I'm talking about the band Fuel, and joining me now is guitarist Carl Bell. How you doing, brother?
I am good. Probably not as good as you, but I'm good. You get to hang out with all the cool shows, but I'm doing good, bud. How are you?
You're my neighbor, man. I might need to go borrow some sugar from you later or something.
And salt. Let's go salt, okay?
Exactly. Well, listen, you and I have been talking about, whenever we've had a chance to hang out, talking about new music from Fuel and when it was coming. And now it's finally here. And now I have the distinct pleasure of premiering it for everybody here in just a couple minutes. But you've been telling me about this track. You've been playing this track live. I've seen you play it live a few times. Now tell the audience about Want It and this first new song in a while from you guys.
It is our first song. You are correct. First song in a while. We've been working on this record, just trying to smooth out and get some things worked out to try to get this thing released. But yes, it's our first song with Aaron, our singer. It's called Want It. We got a record coming out October 30th. The new record is going to be called Pendulum. And we're just excited, man. It's a heavy track, which I know some people might know us for Shimmer and Hemorrhage and some of those songs like that, and those are great as well. But we have a heavy side, and I think you know that. And this is kind of goes back to Won't Back Down from the Daredevil soundtrack we did a while ago, but it's a heavier track, and we're happy to be heavy.
Yeah, man. For people that don't know, yes, you guys have got some great melodic songs, no question, but there is definitely some super heavy riffs and edge to what Fuel has always done. And this song does that. I'll tell you, one of the things I love about this too, Carl, is, I'm a big fan of of your guitar playing, and I love the fact there's some lead guitar in this thing too.
I don't know if it's in fashion or not, but I don't know if I even care what's in fashion, really. But, yeah, there's some lead guitar all over this record. Just trying to enjoy being in a band that I enjoy being in and back to making music and doing that thing, man. So yeah, we put some guitar around on it. Sure.
Yeah, man. Never enough lead guitar playing for me. I want to hear people play, man. I love hearing you play. So I was happy to hear.
I know you do, man.
Yeah, I was happy to hear some lead breaks in this thing. I thought it was great. Now, you mentioned your singer, Aaron Scott, who's been in the band for a little while, does a phenomenal job. This is the first recording with him after he's been playing live with you for a while. And for people that don't know, you're pretty much the sole songwriter on almost the entire catalog for the most part with Fuel. But on this one, you collaborated with him, right? He brought something into this as well, right?
He did, man. Aaron came in, of course, he'd come up to me, and he'd been in the band for a second, and he came up to me one day and he says, dude, I know you're Carl. I know you wrote, lyrics and music and co-produced all the records, but I've got an idea. And I was like, all right, dude, let's hear it. And Eddie, when he hit it, man, it was like drums, bass, everything. You don't know what you're going to get, right? It could just be an acoustic guitar and him singing, but it was the full production. And he knows Pro Tools. And that's how I write. I write with Pro Tools and kind of go, I want to hear what the song is going to sound like. And his idea was that far along. And I was like, oh, man, this is great. And so then he and I got together and worked it all out and polished it all up and made it great. But, yeah, the original idea came from Aaron, man. And he's contributed a lot on this new record. So we're stoked about that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that's for you with Fuel being your baby. That's for you putting a lot of trust in the new guy to not only come in and sing, but to also be open to collaborating with him and working on some ideas that he's bringing to the table.
If it's a good idea, it's a good idea, right? You know what I mean? And when I heard this track, I went, all right. And I could tell he's got chops. He's got writing chops, plus he's got, Pro Tools chops as well. I'm not going to go, no, that's not mine. I didn't write it. I mean, that would be silly on my part, man. And I'm like, a good song is a good song. I don't care where it comes from. And I thought it was great. I'm happy to have somebody help me do the heavy lifting.
You kind of alluded to the fact that you've been sitting on this stuff for a little while, trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. To me, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, it almost sounds like, and I know a lot of people are trying to figure this out, it wasn't about the material not being ready. It was about how you're going to roll it out, because it seems like everybody's trying to navigate that now, right? The best way, how far in advance of the album, how many songs before the album, do you take a label, do you not take a label? You've been in this business a long time. Fuel has been on major labels, different labels, independent labels. Was that part of the delay, is just trying to figure out the best way to get this to the marketplace?
It was, man, and there's just so much to figure out, and plus there's all kinds of stuff happening in the background that fans don't know about. We maybe should have put this song out instead of doing a whole record. We should have done a whole song, because like you said, you saw us on the Creed cruise. We were playing this song a couple of years back. You know what I mean? So it's a lot to figure out, and labels nowadays, I don't know if anybody really knows what to do. It's almost like we are content creators first and musicians second, which is an odd world. But, it's a lot to figure out now. And so, yeah, a lot of the delay was not the music. We recorded the album. We've had the album done for a while. We're just trying to get our heads around an opportunity to get it out.
Well, I'm glad you did an album, and I'm glad an album's coming, because I know there's this mentality now. It's almost about singles and spoon-feeding songs, and that's all well and good, but as an old school guy, man, I want the journey that an album takes you on from track 1 to 10. I want for the bands I love, I want that. So I'm looking forward to the full album. You said it's called Pendulum, coming out in October. Is it pretty much in line with what we're about to hear with Wanted, or a lot of variety on it? Like, what can people expect from the album?
There is some variety on it, which I always like. And I think you as a fan, again, I think you know our catalog, and you know that I'm old school a bit. I like an old Led Zeppelin record where they would go, really ballady into heavy, into reggae, even with Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? So I always want to create a ride, and I think we try to create a ride with every album. And a lot of the album though is going to be heavy, and which is great. We embrace that. Again, it's not different for us because we've had old heavy songs, 20 years back. But there's some, medium tempo stuff. You've actually heard us play. We have an Eagles cover on this one as well that we're kind of stoked about. So we're doing a little bit of everything on it.
Awesome. And the the song Wanted, are you going to do a video for it? Is there a video for it?
We haven't done a video yet. Again, we're trying to figure out if the song maybe gets some legs, we might go back and do a video. With social media as it is now, it's like 30 seconds and people are done. So 15 seconds, maybe 10, So a long form video, I'm not even sure if that makes sense anymore. I know everybody kind of does it just to show that, hey, we're putting our best efforts forward and all that kind of stuff. But we're probably just doing live videos for it for right now. We've got some great live videos. We have a big video wall that we play when we perform, and the visuals on that are really great. So right now there is no regular video. Again, we're just trying to figure out how to do this that makes the most sense for us.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with videos now is it gives people something to look at while they're listening to the song on YouTube, because I think that's where most people hear their music is watching something on the screen while they're hearing the song when they're on YouTube. Yep. It sounds like that's pretty much where it's at these days.
I think you're right. And again, you just don't, people's attention span. I mean, basically you're just trying to keep people from, get 8 seconds of view is about, what you're trying to shoot for anymore. It's a weird world, and we know how it is nowadays, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah. Hey, last thing before I let you go and we let everybody hear the new song. As far as live, I mean, you guys have been hitting it pretty hard the last few years, and you're still out there. I was super bummed that I missed you in that show on Fremont where we both live in Vegas. I love seeing shows there. I was unfortunately out of town, but I heard that went great. But you have a bunch of shows coming up. The next up, you're in PA, in Pennsylvania. I don't know if it's near your area you came up in, but July 11th in Grantville. Then you're at the Hard Rock outside of Tulsa on the 15th. But you guys have been hitting it pretty hard on the live front. Is that the plan going forward for this year and into next year?
It is. I mean, I think every band knows now that most of your life comes from playing live shows. It used to be you could have, heavy rotation on MTV and your songs would be out there working in other ways. But it's almost down to touring, I feel like, for most bands anymore. And it's working very well for a lot of bands. I mean, look at Creed and look at, Bad Omens and all these guys who are having great tours, and rock is back, and that's great. So, we're planning on touring. We're planning on playing shows. We're doing a lot of weekend stuff and fly dates and such as that. But, check our calendar, man. Check us out on Fuel Official. We're doing a lot of dates. We're playing a lot, and that's what we cut our teeth on, man, playing live music. So we're happy to be doing it.
And, Carl, I'll tell you, and lastly, and this just came to me too, I mean, since you took Fuel back, as most people know, your former singer, Brett, had the name for a while doing a version of the band. You took the band back. You brought in Aaron. That's a few years now. You've been out there, going really well with this. This whole kind of act, second, third act, whatever you want to call it for Fuel, with this version of the band. I mean, I've hung out with you guys a lot on those cruises. You all seem to be really having fun and really enjoying each other's company and doing this. Tell me how this whole latest, rollout of the band has been for you.
Well, I mean, I'm to the point now where I want quality of life. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in a band where you just have to tolerate each other. I've got a bunch of guys now. We make fun of each other. We laugh. We hang out. It's great. It's like, again, like if you go to work and you hate the people you work with or have problems with the people you work with versus going to work and you enjoy the people you work with, it's a completely different thing, right? And I'm to the point where I want to do what I want to do with people I enjoy doing it with, and that's what I've got right now. These guys are great. We eat dinners together every time we show up for the gigs, and I mean, I know it sounds normal, but most bands don't hang like we've been hanging.
Oh, I know.
I don't know how long it'll last, but it's been great, and I've got a good bunch of guys, a good bunch of musicians. We laugh a lot, but we take the music very seriously, and it's kind of a good place right now.
Yeah, and you guys, for a bunch of skinny guys, man, you do eat a lot. It makes me really pissed off that you're able to do that.
And you just see us on the cruises,
We're sitting at a buffet, and I'm watching Carl, this skinny guy, pounding back all this food. I'm like, man, you're killing me right now. I eat one thing, I put on 10 pounds. I was ready to kill you.
I just put my head underneath a soft serve machine and just let it roll. You know what I mean?
What's better than that?
Cruises are tough. Cruises are tough, man.
Living here where we live in Vegas is tough. There's way too many great restaurants here, man.
Man, there is. This is a great town for a lot of different things, right?
Oh, gosh. Well, listen, man, when the record is, the full album is close to coming out, we'll definitely have to do something, maybe get the whole band in or do something fun and push the whole record out. I can't wait to hear the whole thing. And again, everybody look forward to that. Pendulum coming in October. Check out the band's website and see where the dates are. You've got Oklahoma, you've got, let's see here, scattered all over the place, Wisconsin, Wyoming, racking up those frequent flyer miles. So you got a bunch of dates, and everybody go see the band live. They're so great.
We got that Pennsylvania date coming, which we broke out of Pennsylvania. And of course, it's with Bret Michaels. He's from Mechanicsburg. We used to, some of our guys used to live in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. So we're excited to go back home to that area and play. And Bret is he's such a nice guy, man. He's such a cool guy. He's always been really good to us. So we're excited about those shows as well.
Yeah, he knows how to have fun as well. So that's never not a party on two legs. So make sure you send him my best when you see him. Hey, listen, buddy, thank you for this. Let's hang in Vegas soon when you get some time. Every time I hit you up, I know you're running all over the country too, but we got to get together. And congrats on this new song, man. I love it. And I'm psyched to be able to premiere it for people right now.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, let's let everybody hear it. Here it is for the first time anywhere. Again, it's out and available everywhere starting tomorrow. We've got the premiere for you right now to end Trunk Nation. Thank you guys for listening to the show. Have a great rest of your day. And to close it out, here is the world premiere of a brand new song, the first